Hello everyone, glad to have you here on the channel. Today we're talking about an email sent by a man who wanted to share with us his experience with a Thai Gogo bar girl he met in Phuket and the valuable lessons he took away from it. So, let's dive into this story.
I met Dao in Phuket, a beautiful island in Thailand known for its amazing beaches and lively nightlife. It was my first time visiting, and I was amazed by the island's beauty and energy. I was far from imagining that this trip would change my life in ways I could never have imagined. One evening, I walked into Patong Beach, famous for its busy bars and clubs. The night was full of bright lights, and you could hear music everywhere. I found myself in a go-go bar, where girls danced and entertained customers. Among all the noise and lights, I noticed Dao. She seemed different from the other girls. While they enjoyed the attention, Dao looked shy and reluctant to be there. Her eyes had a hint of sadness, and I couldn't stop looking at her. Over the next few days, I kept going back to the bar to see Dao. Eventually, I gathered the courage to talk to her. We started with simple conversations. I learned that Dao wasn't from Phuket. She came from a small village in northern Thailand. Her family was poor, and she came to Phuket to find work and support them. Dao told me her story. Her father was a farmer, but he got very sick and couldn't work anymore. With medical bills accumulating and no source of income, Dao felt compelled to leave her village in search of a job. She ended up working in the Gogo bar, a job she never wanted but took to help her family. Listening to Dao, I admired her a lot. Despite her tough situation, she stayed strong and cared for her family. As we talked more, my feelings for her grew. I wanted to help her escape this difficult life. One night, after the bar closed, I suggested something to Dao. I told her she could come live with me. I would take care of all her expenses, and she wouldn't have to work at the bar anymore. She was surprised and unsure if she could trust me. We hadn't known each other long, and my offer seemed too good to be true. But over time, after repeatedly paying the bar fine for her, Dao saw that I was sincere. Eventually, she agreed to move in with me. We found a small, cozy apartment away from the busy streets of Patong. It felt like a new beginning for both of us. Everything was just perfect for a period of time. Dao seemed happier and more relaxed. We spent our days exploring the island, visiting temples, and enjoying the beaches. We shared meals, laughed, and learned more about each other. I felt like I was making a real difference in her life, and I was happy knowing I was helping someone I cared about. However, over time, things started to change. Dao became restless. She often talked about missing her friends and the excitement of her old life. I thought she'd be happy to leave the bar behind, but she missed parts of it. She missed the independence, the friendships with other girls, and the thrill of the nightlife. Dao started going out late at night. At first, I didn't think much of it. I thought she was just adjusting to her new life. But soon, it became a regular thing. She came home late, sometimes drunk. I was worried about her. Whenever I tried to talk to her, she became defensive. She accused me of trying to control her, of taking away her freedom. I felt helpless. I wanted to support Dao and make her happy, but nothing I did seemed to help. Our once happy home was now filled with tension and arguments. I didn't know how to fix the growing gap between us. One night, after another argument, I decided to follow Dao. I was worried about her and needed to know where she was going. I trailed her discreetly through the streets of Phuket, my heart pounding with anxiety. To my dismay, I saw Dao walk into the same go-go bar where we first met. She was back, laughing and dancing with other men. My heart sank. When she saw me, her expression changed from joy to shock. We stepped outside to talk. Dao admitted she missed the independence and the money she earned at the bar. Despite the hardships, she enjoyed the freedom it gave her. She didn't want to rely on anyone else for her happiness or financial stability. She wanted to make her own choices and live life on her own terms, even if it was tough. At that moment, I realized how naive I had been. I thought I could change her life overnight. But I was wrong. Dao didn't want saving, she wanted her freedom. She needed to find her own path, even if it was different from what I had hoped for her. I had good intentions, but they weren't enough to change someone's path. Dao taught me a valuable lesson about respect, freedom, and understanding. Sometimes, the best thing you can do for someone is to let them find their own way. After returning home, I couldn't stop thinking about Dao and our time together. I wondered how she was doing and hoped she was happy. I tried to move on, but the memories stayed with me. I realized our story wasn't just about trying to help someone. It was also about understanding and respecting their choices, even if they're different from our own. I decided to turn my feelings into something positive. I started writing about my experiences in Thailand, hoping to share stories like Dao's. I wanted to show the complexities of life in places like Phuket and the struggles people face. Through my writing, I hope to raise awareness and encourage compassion, focusing on understanding rather than hatred. I wanted to remind others that everyone has their own journey and that sometimes, the best way to help is to support them without trying to control or change them. In the end, my time in Phuket taught me valuable lessons about love, freedom, and the human spirit. I learned that true compassion involves respecting someone's autonomy and supporting them in their choices. While my heart still ached for Dao, I found comfort in knowing I had tried my best to understand and support her. Years later, I returned to Phuket. The island had changed, but it still held the same vibrant energy. I walked through the familiar streets of Patong, memories flooding back. I wondered if Dao was still there, living her life on her terms. As I stood on the beach, watching the sunset, I felt a sense of peace. I had come full circle, revisiting the place where it all began. Though I didn't know where Dao was or what she was doing, I hoped she was happy and free, living the life she chose for herself. Our paths had crossed briefly, but the impact of our meeting stayed with me. Dao's strength and resilience continued to inspire me, and her story remained a powerful reminder of the importance of empathy and understanding. In the end, I realized that sometimes, the most meaningful connections are the ones that teach us the most about ourselves and the world around us. As the sun dipped below the horizon, I made a silent promise to always honor Dao's memory by living with compassion and respect for others. Our story may have been brief, but it was a chapter in my life that shaped me in profound ways, leaving an indelible mark on my heart.